Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel. We're the Movie Couple. I'm Dustin.
I'm Wendy.
And this is going to be our movie review for The Devil All the Time. The Devil All the Time is a psychological thriller that is based on Daniel Ray Pollock's novel of the same name and is directed and co-written by Antonio Campos. This movie is a star-studded cast. I mean, it has some really good names. And when it comes to acting quality, that is where this movie shines. It is an incredible character dive into the motivations, the history, and everything about these characters. And I can just see that this is one of those huge, meaty movies that actors are like, oh, I get to do this? This is deep kind of thing. And I'm just excited to see how well these actors just dove into their characters full on.
I can see the actors kind of at either reading the script on their own or at the table read, and you just find out all these little intricate details about the story, where it goes, the characters, and in what ways they're connected. It's just like really juicy, and it's really, really, really good. When we saw the trailer, I was so intrigued because, like you said, it's a star-studded cast and just the performance. And you said it the best after the movie ended. You said that this is like an actor's movie, and this really allows all the actors to really fully dive into the characters, again, their psyche, their motivation, be so organic and do something that's just so, it's very raw. A lot of the performances are really raw. So we're going to keep this non-spoiler, so if you haven't seen the movie, you can enjoy it. We won't tell you what happens. But there are a lot of characters. The movie is at a meaty 2 hours and I think 18, maybe 19 minutes.
Yep.
Although that time is worth it in order for you to, I feel like, to really embrace the story and watch it really like fleshed out and kind of get travel the road, if you will, with
very appropriate for this movie.
Well,
when you watch it, you'll get
it. For all the characters that we are introduced to from the very beginning. And it's really interesting because they have the author of the novel actually as the narrator for this movie, which I thought was really appropriate. It was a nice like homage to the writer as
and
well.
I really liked his voice.
It gave me a little David Attenborough.
Yeah, a little bit, but but it had that gruff kind of telling a story of the past, almost like a westerny kind of feel, kind of voice, very southern, but that very comforting kind of around the campfire kind of story.
Yes.
But that is not what this movie is. It is not a campfire story. This is, I mean, do be prepared that when you watch this movie, the first half of it really is just character development. It is setting up the story for this series of events that happen in the climax. And there are just, it's like Tom Holland, you have to tell his backstory, but then you have his, when he was a child and why his childhood was like that because of the way his dad and his mom were, but also this other person that ends up being his stepsister kind of thing. But it's an incredibly detailed and orchestrated kind of movie to where it's, instead of having like one big pivotal part that is progressively moving the story forward, it really does show the power of an ensemble movie to where all of these characters are progressing forward and to advance the depth of this story.
Yeah, this movie should also be with the nickname, like in parentheses, The Devil Time, and then parentheses, a series of unfortunate events, because that's what it felt like. And like Dustin said, it certainly isn't a happy, I mean, you can probably tell from the trailer and the title that it's not like a happy movie. It definitely explores a lot of the ugliness of people and kind of like their motivations behind certain things in this movie. And with devil in the title, they tie that into religion throughout the film, and
yes.
and you'll see that. But it's not like a heavy preachy theme at all. It kind of, the way it happened, it's organic, and you'll have to, like, we really do recommend you watch it. And I think my favorite part of this movie, aside from the performances, is realizing from almost the very beginning, because in the narration that opens the movie, he talks about it, how certain people from you know, two places that's 10 hours away from each other, how they become so intertwined in this intricate web of storytelling. And it's crazy because it's, you know, part of the story takes place in Ohio, the other part of it takes place in West Virginia, I believe. It's like Meade, Ohio, and Knock'em Stiff, and then West Virginia. I cannot remember the city, but yes, so it's think 10 hours that way. And it's really interesting to kind of follow, because I would like to say like there is a protagonist of the movie, and I want to say it's Tom Holland, but it doesn't quite start that way because they have to set it up, and they go all the way back to Bill Skarsgard, who plays Willard, who plays Arvin's dad, and you kind of, like you said, seeing a little bit of you know, his backstory and how that leads Arvin to kind of the way he lives his life and the way he approaches things, and that the certain people that we meet throughout this story all somehow, whether they meet each other or not, are all somehow intertwined. And it's I almost want to say it's almost like intricate, like a whodunit. Minus the fun of the whodunit, because you don't really want to play like a whodunit in this sort of a scenario, but it's so good.
More of like you get told about what's gonna happen, and then you're like, okay, I want to see how this is gonna play out. What is it going to be exactly that gets, you know, like for example, the storyteller will tell you when a certain character is going to die, and he'll tell it before you actually see those events. But the way that they're still able to, if you know where you're going, and the storytelling is still incredibly interesting along the way, that just shows how well directed, how well written, and how well narrated this movie is, just guided along this path. And you're just there for the ride to see all of these characters and how they interact, how they do interact with each other and how they connect, but also how they react to certain things in their lives. And I just thought they did that amazingly well. And the thing is, I am really glad that they released this on Netflix, because this is probably one of those movies that even if it had great reviews, I probably wouldn't go out to the theaters and like pay actual money to see it. It's kind of like when you get all of those Oscar nominated films, unless you go to some place like TIFF, or you go Sundance, or you are deliberately going, oh, these are the movies that are nominated, I am going to go see it. This is one of those movies that has incredible acting, incredible directing, but it's one of those movies that, you know, I don't know if I would want to put that money down, but I still want to see it. And I think VOD is like such a great place for these incredibly well acted, well directed, well written movies to be able to get more shine from, to be able to get more attention, to have more eyes on it. And this is one of the things I really do highly recommend seeing this movie. Yeah, it's on Netflix right now. If you have Netflix available, watch it today. We highly recommend it. And I think it's funny that you kind of have, you feel like VOD is a good place to release it. I feel like it's a good place to release it given the time of the pandemic, where not everybody can get to a theater. True. So then, like otherwise, like the box office, if people, you know, sometimes they focus in on that box office numbers. If it doesn't make money, then it's kind of like, oh, it's not that good of a movie, or it's underrated or whatever. But if I had seen this trailer and they said coming to theater and the pandemic wasn't a thing, I would have gone. The trailer gave me the same feel as when I saw the trailer for Hell or High Water, which was one of my favorite films from that year. And I was so happy I had seen it in theater. Granted, it's a little bit different. There's the cinematography. I don't really want to compare the two because they're not the same at all. But I felt like not enough people saw Hell or High Water in theaters, and I feel like if this had gone to theater, it would have been the same. So in that way, I am glad that it was on VOD. In another way, I kind of wanted to see this in theaters so that the performances can get some nominations. Yes, they're that good. Give Robert Pattinson a nomination for this film. We've always talked about how transformational he has, progressive, like not to say he was ever a bad actor. I don't ever think that he was ever a bad actor. I just felt like he kind of got stuck in that Twilight. Like a lot of people kind of got stuck on him being in Twilight and they couldn't see him past that. But he's made so many movies a lot of people aren't even aware about. I'm sure there's tons that I don't know about as well. But as you watch him,
he has a talent and a passion for acting, and he loves to explore these type of characters, especially like Lighthouse. I didn't enjoy the movie, but I enjoyed him and Willem Dafoe's performances a hell of a lot. And I was not expecting, you know how you look at Robert Pattinson and you kind of know him and you know his films, so you think like, okay, well, he looks this way, he's gonna sound this way. And even though we saw him in the trailer, throughout the movie, I'm just like, I can't get over how the voice he's made for this character does not match of what I know of Robert Pattinson.
Yes.
And I loved it. Like, the way and props to all the British actors putting on,
oh my gosh, yeah,
like the best accents out there. I was like, whoa, okay.
There were a lot of British actors in this that pulled off Southern incredibly well.
Yeah, it's really great. So props to you, Robert Pattinson, for just like, it took me, I forget that I was watching Robert Pattinson, which I think is great.
Yeah.
He kind of really merged into his role of the priest Preston. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. I just always feel bad to when like great movies like this are released in theaters and they don't get the love that because it costs more money to put them into these big time theaters, and I'm like, oh, it didn't actually make money. They're not going to be able to, then they'll do less of these kind of movies. If it's VOD, they actually will have less expenses, so more people will be able to see it. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of my argument about that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, totally agree.
But overall, definitely see this movie. I think it is incredibly well written, well directed. This is very much an actor's movie. All of the actors did an incredible job. What do you think?
Oh my God, it's so good. At the beginning I thought, oh my gosh, 2 hours and 19 minutes, okay. And as soon as it started, and like we said, it starts with Bill Skarsgard's character, and I went, oh, I see we're in for a ride. Okay, I'm in. And I was in, and I was fully invested the whole time. It's just to kind of see everything come together and unravel, and to see outcomes of certain stories and certain characters. I enjoyed it so much. So if this movie was in theaters, because our movie rating, which you can see below in the description box, it's kind of based on a movie theater going experience. So we're gonna have to kind of pretend for a second that, I guess, like, had this movie gone to theater, how we would rate it in accordance to our movie rating, because we haven't come up with a new one, and I don't know if we will. TBD on that. I would rate this a check it out.
Me too. I'd be right there saying, you know what, this is a movie that... the only downside to it, I'd have to say, is that the first half of this movie is very much character development, is very much story building. If you are not into those kind of movies, you'll probably find the first half of this movie rather dull. However, I find this character building, world building, character development very interesting, and I love watching it. So I would definitely give this movie a check it out.
Well, you guys, that's it. That's it for this non-spoiler review of The Devil All the Time. If you've seen the film on Netflix, wow, okay, don't know what happened there. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. And because this is a spoiler-free review, we would ask that you keep your comments as spoiler-free as possible. And let us know your thoughts on this movie, whether you feel like it was a good call to do just a strictly VOD and release on Netflix, which is totally fine, because that means we didn't have to leave our couch and try to find, like a drive-in to go to, or you would like to see this released in theaters instead, or that maybe it'll be re-released in theaters.
I hope so, because it really does deserve at least an Oscar nod or an Oscar nomination kind of thing. So I hope it does get a chance to just get a little bit of time to qualify for the Oscars.
And there you have it. Thank you so much for watching this review. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And don't forget to tune in to our live stream every Wednesday and Saturday at 2 p.m. PT. And we'll see you in the next video. Bye.